Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Feazell, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge radio, television, and podcast talk show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 2 p.m. on the Eastern Time Zone as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about gooseberries, and you're going to find a little bit more information about that. Is it going to work here in Abbeville, South Carolina? Is it even going to work in the United States at all? I asked my daughter-in-law a few years ago, I said, what do you miss about Russia? And she said, let me think about it. I don't miss much. Gooseberries. And I said, let me see if I can find the seeds. Let's see what we can actually get started out of a gooseberry. So we're going to go ahead and let you look at a video with me outside, and we'll see what happens. And we'll talk about gooseberries just a little bit later on in this segment. Okay, guys, now we're going to take a walk out on the wild side. Take a look at these gooseberries. So when I asked Larissa, I said, what is one thing that you miss about Russia? And she said, the only thing I miss is gooseberries. And I said, well, tell me about gooseberries. What are they about? And she said, well, I don't think we can grow them here in the United States. I only saw them in Russia, but look at them. Here they are, and they're already producing some fruit. So all you got to do is, got these came from seed. And by the way, this plant will go to seed. And then another thing that's going to happen is when they go to seed, they'll be dropping seed all in this, and you'll have more gooseberries and you're going to know what to do with. But anyway, we left our crop that we had in Alabama and had to start all over again. But look at the gooseberries. Now, they have this little, it's almost like a little paper mache looking thing right here on the fruit itself. And what'll happen, see, there's another bloom coming up. It's about to have some more of them. But this little plant right here is just full of gooseberries. And so they look almost like a grape. They kind of resemble a grape, and what they'll do is they'll shed this little paper mache covering right here, and you'll see the fruit. Now what you can do with these, you can make juice out of them, you can make jams, jellies, whatever you want to make out of these. But I planted more. I didn't think all of these plants would come up, and of course they did. So there we've got a bunch of them there. Now what'll happen is they're going to grow, and I wanted to plant them right here because it's going to be almost like a trellis. And what we'll do is once they start getting bigger, and once they start leading towards this trellis, they'll start growing up this chain link fence. And then what will happen is it'll look almost like grapes. And it's going to be awesome looking. So anyway, we've got a bunch of pans of these. These are a bunch of seeds, and I just couldn't say goodbye to them because they just kept kind of popping up. And we've got all kinds of stuff. There's another rogue tomato plant. There's another one. Tomatoes just won't go away. Now this is a little parsley, and it's a curl parsley, and I didn't think I was going to have any parsley this year, but look at there. That one's coming through. Got some more hops in the making. I thought that they were finished. I'm going to take you over to the hops in just a few minutes, and you'll see why they are a great medicinal plant. And a lot of people make beer out of them. That's not what we're going to do, but you're going to be able to see the medicinal challenge and how this is actually going to help you. Now these right here are pepper plants that came up. So these are jalapenos. This is just a rogue tomato plant I couldn't say no to, so I didn't clip her down. Here we've got some cayenne peppers. They're going to be coming up. I'm excited about those. Again, more gooseberries. Now this is something that we're going to try. And because the chickens need green to eat all through the year, not just in the summertime. They got to have a wintertime crop too. So what I saw is online where somebody was actually raising corn, and what's going to happen is you're going to get a buffer of stuff under here. You're going to have roots, and you're going to have all of those things. Now I may plant some of these so we can have corn to eat. But what I'm saying is this is something we're going to try together, and let's see how this turns out. And but corn for the girls, that's going to be great. Lamb's ear. Okay, so we've got 4 of those cropping up. Now they're going to turn into great big plants. The leaves on them are several inches big. Back in the day, I heard people use them for toilet paper. I don't know. If we start getting some issues there and with supply chains happens, I guess we'll be covered. Borage plant is a medicinal plant that is so good for you. I mean, it's unlimited the things it can do for you. Another lamb's ear, 2 more lamb's ear. Feverfew. And look at that thing, it's taking off. Another medicinal plant. What we'll do is we'll talk about these and we'll have individual shows at what these can do for you and for your health. Plantain is another awesome plant. I've got 2 of these. Now they're going to be bigger plants than what I didn't think they would all come up. But they did, so we're going to have to think of something. What am I going to do with these? We'll be separating them and putting them in other. I don't want to put them in the ground because they'll just kind of take over. And so I've got to keep them kind of, you know. Here's marshmallows. Marshmallow is such a medicinal plant. And you're going to see some blooms. There's a little bloom coming out on that one right there. We'll get into more activity on that as time goes by. My chives, I put everything in. I put chives in everything. Chives is such a wonderful, wonderful flavor addition to anything you cook, whether that be salads or you want chili or whatever you want. You've got to put some chives in it. Okay, here we're seeing, this is another one of my flower plants, and I got another one right here. Oh, thyme. This thyme is showing out. Now, thyme is good for you. I put thyme in some of Phil's cough syrup, like in the wintertime. He's been having some issues this summer. We've had so much pollen and everything all over the place, but thyme is a good thing to put in your cough syrup. It's also good for our bees. They love thyme, and it's a health plant for them as well. So they'll just buzz all over it, and again, a health thing. I know a lot of beekeepers keep a big plant of this close to their beehives, and that's what we're going to do too. There are actually 4 different plants in here, and they're getting kind of big for their britches because we're going to have to separate them. Okay, here we go. This is one of my all-time favorites. I say everything is my favorite, but I really do love this one, and that's my basil. A lot of my tomato recipes has got basil in it, it's got thyme in it, and I'll tell you something else I'm beginning to cook with a lot, and that's dill. And I got a lot of that going on. I've even got that going on in a bed. Take a look at the motherwort. I wish we'd had this when I had my monthly cycle. But women who are going through the change of life, what have you, you can dry these leaves and make a tea out of it, and it'll calm you down. So that's something that you need. You husbands are going to be buying that for your wives. But here's a beautiful plant right here. It's just about to start blooming out. There's a poppy. He's a pretty one. And oh man, do I love the German chamomile. So we're going to let this dry. We're going to set it out and let it dry, and we're going to make teas out of it and probably tinctures out of it as well. The lovage, I don't know that it likes all this rain we've been getting here lately. Oregano, I didn't think I was going to get any of that. I use that in my tomato sauces and things like that. It's good on pizza. You got to put, that's the one ingredient I won't do without. There went some bees that I won't do without when I'm making a pizza. Okay, now this is, I love this parsley, and it's that curled parsley. There you go. So I got that in the camera. Now, mint, you do need to contain it because mint is really bad to take over. If you just plant it out in the yard, it'll be all over your yard. This is just regular mint, and I like to just pull one off and just eat it. And it's good for your breath as well. Now, this is my lemon balm. Isn't she beautiful? I make all kinds of salves and chapsticks and stuff like that with the lemon balm. Okay, this is an experiment right here in cardboard. Okay, so I just put some seeds in here, and I can see one of my red chilies is coming up. So I planted some red chilies, some green chilies, some green pepper, and some yellow pepper, so you can see what they look like. They're doing a good job. And this right here is my Italian dandelion. I'm going to tell you what, good salads with Italian dandelion. And the bees also love them too, so I like it so much that I just planted some more seeds down in here. And we're waiting on those to come up. Okay, now everybody's been asking me about hops. Here's your hops. Now people make beer out of them, but I'm just going to tell you this is one of the best medicinal plants you can have on planet Earth. And what's going to happen with these, I planted them by seed. And so what's going to happen, I wanted to put them here by the fence. You got to contain them because they'll go crazy. And what's going to happen, as soon as that thing starts spinning around, it'll be kind of like a cucumber. You know how they'll just kind of come up and just start being, and green beans and stuff like that, and they'll start twirling around. And what'll happen is this whole fence right here, you see my chickens, this whole fence right here is going to be covered with hops. I'm excited about that as well. You can tincture them, you can do all kinds of stuff with hops, but they're a good medicinal plant. Okay, so in this crop right here, I just planted some chicory root. So we're doing an experiment with this, and we'll let you know how this turns out. But chicory root is in place of coffee, and I like chicory coffee. I think it tastes really good. So I just threw a bunch of seeds out here. We're going to see what happens. Just got those planted. Strawberries doing good. These are some strawberries we brought with us from Alabama. And boy, aren't they happy. I think they like being in South Carolina too. We got some more blooms that are coming out. Right here is where I just planted a bunch of dandelions. There's one coming up. I want dandelions all over the place. I love everything about a dandelion. I love the root of the dandelion. I love the flowers, and I love the leaves. The leaves make some awesome salad. Kind of like that Italian dandelion over there. Okay, some new strawberry plants, and they're putting out the blooms as well. So we're going to have some strawberries coming up pretty soon. This is a medicinal plant right here, and I love this one too. It's called white yarrow. Now each one of these, we're going to have a segment so you can find out what it's good for. And I keep them in the house. Here's hyssop. We've got a lot of those coming up. It's a medicinal plant. Here's my dill. I can't have enough dill plants. So you see they're all over the place right there. More strawberries. We've got strawberries galore. Blackberries. Now these are the thornless blackberries. That's what I love about them. Plus they produce like crazy, and they're big, but they're good and juicy. As a matter of fact, we had one. Phil grabbed that one. He got to eat that one this morning. Okay, now here are my sage. I was beginning to think I wasn't going to have any sage. Then all of a sudden, look at all these seeds that came out. I'll be selling some of these plants too. I'll let you guys know when they're ready. Calendula, one of my favorite skincare. These things, okay, I get poison oak all the time. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me kind of, if I can get my arm and put it right here. All I've got to do is look at poison oak and I get it. I don't think you can see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's poison oak. All I do is get calendula. You can make your own essential oil with it. You can get any kind of an oil-based, any oil-based, and you can keep it. Now, it takes it several months now for it to really do its thing. And then I make salves out of it. But I'm loving it. Okay, more strawberry plants right there. I love green purslane. Look at that, it's showing out. Now, this is considered an invasive weed, and it probably grows out in your yard somewhere. If you've got this, I know it goes crazy in the yard, but I'm just telling you, this is a great medicinal plant, and it's great to use in skincare. Okay, so here you see we got the tires, and instead of just planting these things we planted them in the ground, but I wanted extra, so we found these old tires out here on the land. The guy that lived here used to be the sheriff here in Abbeville, and so he retired from that, and so just started to do, repairing cars and stuff. And he had a lot of tires out there, and so Phil was going to take them off to the dump, and I said, no, don't take them to the dump. I think we can do something with them. And so we planted these plants in the ground, and plus they get extra because of the soil and everything that we've got. You have to amend the soil here. I mean, the soil here is just terrible. A lot of roots, not necessarily the soil, but there's so many roots here from trees. And as you can see, we live in the country, and there are trees absolutely everywhere. Okay, our blackberries, they're coming along. They're beginning to ripen up, and I'm tickled to get those because I am the type, I will absolutely go out in the wild to get blackberries. I love them, and I'll put up with thorns and everything else, but this is kind of nice to have the thornless variety. Now, they work with canes, so what's going to happen is you're going to have some fruit on some of these this year, and then next year you'll get another cane that'll come up, and that's where the fruit's going to go. So anyway, they just kind of give each other a shot at it. I see another one that's ripened, two that have ripened. Okay, a bunch of them, and they're the big old pretty ones. I mean, they're huge, and a lot of big varieties don't taste that good, but these are really sweet. You don't have to use a lot of sugar in them when you're making juice, and also you don't have to use a lot of sugar when you're making jams out of them. Okay, so I just did something else kind of rogue. So I planted some comfrey seeds. I didn't think things were ever going to come up. Well, look, here's two of them right here. I love my comfrey plants. They are absolutely a must that you have in your garden. Medicinal properties in them. I'm just telling you, I've got clients that buy comfrey salve from me all the time, and they're always talking about how great it is. Oh, looky there. Aren't they beautiful? So this is the muscadine grape, and the muscadines are going to come in a little bit later than, say, your blackberries do and your strawberries, but man, they've got some healthy looking, these are healthy as crazy. It's crazy how healthy they are. Looks like we're about to get some more rain, so I'm going to have to make this kind of quick. The last thing I'll show you for this segment is raspberries. Okay, so we just planted these this year, and look at them. They're getting tall, and they're getting blooms on them. And now, I have not found a variety I like of raspberry that doesn't have all these thorns and stuff on them. If you know of a variety that you like that's good and sweet tasting, let me know. I'd rather have no thorns. But anyway, I'll do whatever it takes to have a sweet raspberry. There you go. And these are looking good as well. This is the compost pile that I told you about, we started. And so I'm loving how that's looking. So, I mean, the yuckier it looks, the better it is. Okay, I'll see you guys next time. Okay, we're back. Let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we'll return in just a few minutes. So y'all hang in there with me, okay? Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. You know, finding the right home isn't just about bedrooms and square footage. It's about comfort, security, and the feeling you get the moment you walk through the door. That's why so many families across Greenwood and the Lakelands area trust Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams. And I'll tell you from personal experience, Jenny was my realtor, and she truly cares about her clients. Jenny takes the time to listen, to understand what matters most, and to guide you every step of the way, whether you're buying your first home, upgrading, or ready to sell. Because this isn't just a transaction, it's your life. With local knowledge, personal care, and a commitment to getting it right, Jenny Ferguson makes the process simple and even enjoyable. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, now's the time to make your move. Call Jenny Ferguson with Keller Williams in Greenwood today and take the next step toward a place you'll truly love coming home to.
Lowe's knows that the projects you build in spring are the ones you can't wait to share. It's why we make sure you have our best deals with My Lowe's Rewards, and that you get help from people who've
been there,
done that.
Try this.
This spring, we'll help you build something rewarding. Hey, Stan.
What's up? I made you something.
Oh, thank you.
I got something for you. You grew these? Of course.
Lowe's knows how to help you spring.
Shine your style at Kiss My Glass right here in the Anderson Mall. There's a place where style meets sparkle. At Kiss My Glass, every piece is handcrafted, custom designed, and made to shine just like you. Owner Beth Gibson brings creativity to life with stunning custom tumblers, gifts, and one-of-a-kind pieces you won't find anywhere else. Look for the perfect gift or something uniquely you, from bold and glamorous to simple and elegant. There's something for every style, so stop by, get inspired, and leave with something unforgettable. Kiss My Glass inside the Anderson Mall, Anderson, South Carolina, where your sparkle begins. Be sure to check out Kiss My Glass on Facebook for updates and specials and gift ideas. Okay, folks, we're back. Let's talk a little bit more about gooseberries, okay, and why they're so important and why they're good for our diet. But can you actually grow them in Abbeville, South Carolina, or anywhere in the United States? We're going to talk about that. So let me go on ahead, and I'm just telling you, if I can do this stuff, I know you can, because there are some things that I like to experiment with. If it works, I go on ahead and do it again. If not, toss it and we'll do something else. But let's talk a little bit about gooseberries. Now, they're kind of small, they're tart berries, and they grow on thorny shrubs, and they are commonly green, but they can also be red, yellow, they can be purple or white, depending on the variety. The ones we have are going to be green. The gooseberries taste, they kind of like unripe taste, like they're very tart, they're acidic. Now, when they're ripe, they're very sweet and have flavors, often compared to grapes, kiwi, green apples, or maybe even sometimes sour plums. And so I'm anxious to see what these turn out to be. Now, I started a variety when we were living in Alabama, but I gave that up when we moved, and so had to start all over again when we moved back to South Carolina. So I didn't really get a good idea of what they were going to taste like. Common uses are in jams. You can use them in preserves. They're good that way, I've heard. According to Larissa, she says pies and crumbles. They do syrups with those, but they're fresh eating also with the sweeter varieties. Now, there are some that are not, so we're just going to have to kind of wait and see. Now, you can also make savory sauces for meats or for fish, and in some cuisines, nutrition highlights gooseberries are rich in vitamin C. They're also rich in fiber, antioxidants. Now, where they're popular, they're especially associated with the United Kingdom gardening and deserts. Now, Northern and Eastern European cuisines, parts of India, where India gooseberries usually refer to different fruits, and they call them alma. And so if you want, we can also grow these gooseberries, and then you and I are going to grow these together. Now, the biggest challenge now in Abbeville, South Carolina, and it's because Abbeville is roughly USDA Zone 8A. Now, we're actually split in two zones, kind of like when we were living in Alabama. You had North Alabama and South Alabama. And so you had the mountainous regions in North Alabama, and then you had the coastal areas in South Alabama. We used to call it LA, Lower Alabama. But you're looking at two different zones that way. Same here in South Carolina and in North Carolina. We live in the mountainous area, kind of. So we live out in West North South Carolina, and then you've got your East Carolina, which is at the beach. So Abbeville is roughly USDA Zone 8A. So we're not sure about the gooseberries, if it's going to work or not, but generally they prefer cooler climates, and they can struggle in prolonged southern heat and humidity. With that said, what we're going to do is, in parts of the South, has had some success creating a cooler microclimate. Now, let me talk to you about that. Now, what I've heard on my research about gooseberries is they dig morning sun and afternoon shade. So when they start growing up a little bit, what we're going to do is put shade cloths on them. So that's going to kind of mimic the shade, but we want them to have full morning sun. So that means like every day we're going to be getting out there with a shade cloth just to, kind of remedy it and kind of mimic Russia just a little bit, And so another thing they like is a rich, moist soil. They want excellent airflow. That's why I want them growing up that fence. I don't want them growing into a bush. So if they can get some airflow, we're going to see if that works. Now, they love mulch. Okay, so pine straw is going to come in. And of course, we've got plenty of that around here. We have a lot of pine trees. So the best place for upstate where we live, South Carolina, the ideal setup, again, is going to be the morning sun and protection from hot afternoon sun. So you and I are going to learn this thing together. Now, if I can make this work in Abbeville, South Carolina, you folks that are south of us or in the South anywhere, you can probably get it to work the same way. We have a lot of humidity here as well. Now, also the east side of a house or near taller plants or trees work for them. We want good air circulation to reduce mildew, because I've heard that they can get mildew on them, and that's just going to kill them, and they're just not going to do well. Now, gooseberries in zones 7 and 8 often perform better with afternoon shade anyway. So the soil, they like rich organic soil. slightly acidic soil, somewhere around 6 to 6.5 is what we're looking for. Moist, but well drained. And that's why I think that raised gardens and in container gardens are going to be really, really good for these things. Now, for Abbeville, we've got the clay soils. You want to add a lot of compost. You want pine bark. Now, trying to make it the fine, because sometimes you can get pine bark that's pretty thick. You want it to be kind of fine, and that's going to help the drainage. Raised beds work very well here in South Carolina. Raised beds are a great idea. But what we're doing, the setup, is actually a plus for gooseberries because the roots are going to stay cooler with mulch. The drainage is going to improve. If you just plant them in the ground, especially with this rain that we've had the past few days, it would just create all kinds of root rot. It would be out of control. We would have lost most of the crop that we've had planted in these beds had we had them in the ground. The drainage is going to improve if you got them in a raised garden or in a bucket of some sort. Also, easier disease control. See, what happens is when plants of any kind, now you've always heard that it's best to have no rain with tomatoes. We've heard that all our lives, where you can kind of maintain it and you can get your water hose out there and start raining your tomatoes. Better than too much rain, because what happens is too much rain on any plant, not just tomatoes, but if you have too much rain, what's going to happen is part of the fruit is going to rot. I'll use a tomato for an example. If you ever had, tomatoes and maybe you had to cut off half the tomato because there was root rot on top of it, or it had this real hard core to it, that's because it's getting way too much moisture. And we've got, I don't know how many inches of rain we've had just in the past few days. We went through this like no rain situation where we're out there watering the raised beds to now it's like, let's get some of it out. But what's happening is because in a raised bed, it's looser soil. And we've got to remember all those pine cones that we put down at the bottom. They're draining all that. They're soaking all that rain like a sponge. I can hardly wait to see what the soil is going to be like next year's garden. I'm already thinking of next year. Okay, now, again, a raised bed is easier to amend the soil. You need to have 12 to 18 inches deep raised bed or buckets or whatever you're going to use for containers. And the compost needs to be really rich, and a compost-rich soil is ideal. Now, let's talk about watering, because, we've had this long spell where we had like nothing, and now all of a sudden that's like going crazy. But in a southern heat means that they need about 1 inch of water weekly, more during July and August, because, we're here in the sultry South. Deep water rather than shallow daily watering. And that's another thing I learned through Auburn University. They used to drain this in our heads. And that's about, a lot of people will water hose it every single day. It's best to do and lightly do it if you're going to do that. But what I'm saying is you're better off, instead of doing every day, put a lot of water in about 3 days a week. Now, let's just know that, and get yourself set in a pattern when you do this, by the way. So you've got, say, your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when you're going to do that. Now, pine straw, leaves, wood chips, this helps keep those roots cool. Best varieties in South Carolina of American gooseberry types are probably going to be what I've got. They tend to handle that heat and humidity better than the European ones. Now, spacing and pruning are important because, right now they look kind of thin, but before you know it, they're going to be all bushied out. We're going to have to keep them pruned a lot. So we want to keep the center part open for airflow, almost like what you would do for a peach tree. A better alternative for Abbeville is to go on ahead and get that variety, but you need to think about microclimate. You need to think about what is the climate like in Europe. Okay, and try to mimic that. So that's what we're going to try to do. I'll continue doing little videos. I'll let you know what works and what doesn't work. And then what we're going to do is have a big old bowl of these when Larissa comes, and let's just see, let her give us the final test on whether we need to do this again next year. Thank you so much for watching. It's always great to be with you. If you have any questions, if you would like to send an email, you would like me to have a show about something else, all you got to do is send an email to Donna@DonnasEdge.com. That's Donna@DonnasEdge.com. Appreciate you watching.